Okay. Hey, everybody. This is a first. Totally new to streaming. So if you can hear me, leave a little message in the chat. Is the volume loud enough? I can dial it in to suit your guys' requirements. All good. Thanks, Dird1812. Maybe a little louder for Mason. Let me just pump it up a little bit for you. How's that? Is that any better? I see like green, amber, red in the sort of audio input thing, and I know that red is bad. So I think, cheers, Mason. Nice to see everybody. I didn't know if Friday night was like a thing. Like, what do OSINT-y, cybery kind of people do on a Friday night? I figured maybe this. So, hey, John, you're everywhere. Everywhere I go, you seem to be there. I'm like thinking, are you in my house? Here, does everybody want to see Rami? Rami, come here, look. Let me get. Here he is. Look at that handsome boy. Huh? You're on a live stream, bud. So, hope everybody had a good week. The weekend is upon us, and tonight, hey Andrew, hey Anita, nice to see you here. Tonight we're going to go and learn about OSINT map marking in Figma. Anita says, oh, I have one that matches. You got a dog like this too? Nice. I'm sure yours is as nuts as mine is. Blaine's perfect hair says, this looks fun. I am so intrigued by your profile picture and the name of that channel. Oh, the starting soon. Sorry. There we go. Streamer only. Thanks for letting me know, Mason. Okay, so I'm using Figma for this. Figma, my buddy Pete works there. He's one of the senior product designer guys over there. Amazing company. They make amazing free tech. Yes, there are some premium features, but I'm just using the free one here. And I like Figma because it's so powerful and it's so flexible, and it just lets you do so many things that you just can't do in PowerPoint, for example. And I know many of you, like me, spend a vast amount of time in PowerPoint making presentations for yourself or for the team or for management, and making them look good does matter. How things look definitely matters. Mashrafi, any advice for best laptop? Really depends what you need, unfortunately. I'm using a MacBook Pro here, very reliable machine, but they are expensive. I have had Windows Razer gaming laptops in the past, also awesome, but it has Windows, and I struggle to use Windows after XP. So this is Figma. It's free. Go download it. It's really nice. There's tons of tutorials on YouTube, obviously, for this. Tons of them, and they're really good. But this thing is so powerful, and you'll see some of the power. You'll have these moments where you're like, ah, I see. By the way, all of my content gets designed from in here, like all of the assets for social media, logos, profile pictures, icons, they all end up in here, which is really cool because you can build sort of like a brand book, if you will, for your brand. So if you're a CTI team or an investigations team, you could fire up Figma and make a new, sort of page for yourselves. You can just see pages in the top left. I would recommend watching this on a laptop if you can, like in the highest resolution possible, because the UI is quite small on Figma, but don't worry, I'll sort of talk you through it anyway. Yeah, you can build your own sort of brand book, set your own fonts, your own colors, and then they're all just readily available, which is really cool in here. You don't have to faff around choosing fonts, choosing colors. That's just done. You can just bake it all in. And then when a new person joins the team, they can just get going building stuff. So this was the thumbnail that I put together here for this live stream. And we could rebuild this really, and that'll sort of let me show you how layers and things work on the left. If you're used to Photoshop and things like that, you see the layers panel on the right. On Figma, it's just on the left. And on the right-hand side, you get the options for all the different things. So if I click on a piece of text, these are now sort of text options where you can change fonts and stuff here. The left-hand side is all your layers. The things in pink, these sort of red dots, these are all pink. I don't know if you can see that, but it is pink, the text. That means it's a component, and that's where it gets really powerful. Let me just quickly show you why it's so powerful. So let's say we want to put, you know, this is the JFK assassination, by the way. Oh, sorry. Thank you, sharing my screen. See, new to this streaming stuff. Let's just say we want to change. Can you see my screen now? You should be able to. Let's just check to make sure it comes through. There you go. It's coming through. Oh, Tech with Jared's here. That guy. He loves his farming. I thought you'd be farming tonight. So let's say we want to change these dots. Let's say these are your numbers that you do. You know, stage 1, Lee Harvey Oswald opens the window. Stage 2, JFK drives past. Stage 3, he gets shot, and you mark them with numbers. And then your boss says, I don't like the color. Oh my God. So it makes it really, really powerful in here because this is a component. If we change it once, it changes everywhere. So if I click on the ellipse in the middle and I make it bigger, you'll see the other one gets bigger. Look, they're both changing together. And if we change colors and things like that, they both change. So you save a whole bunch of time, like massive amounts of time, building components out of commonly used things. We'll do a lot of stuff manually here, but I just wanted to show you components. They're a powerful thing that just speed everything up. I highly recommend that if you like the look of Figma and you start playing with it, you very quickly learn how to use components. All you got to do is like make a shape. So at the bottom here, click the circle, make a shape, and then right click on it, and there's create component. Bam, that's it. Now when you, on a Mac, I hold Option and I drag, it duplicates it. And if we change one of these, then they all change. Simple as that. We can do the same with text. So the text is all styled the same, but obviously you need to have different numbers or different words in the text box. It's the same sort of deal. You make a text component and in it goes. So it's very nice. Okay, right. Let's have a quick look here. I'm going to click on this, and you can see on the left, there's a frame. You can see here, frame 49. A frame is kind of like a group. Figma has groups, but it also has frames. And I want you to think of frames as like the sort of actual boundary of the image. You know, for me, it was a YouTube thumbnail, so it was 16 by 9. And the size doesn't really matter. But you can see here, it is 1600 by 900. When you export it, you can export these down in the bottom right to any size that you want. I'm just going to duplicate this frame and pull it over here. Let's just zoom out and take it way down here. And we'll just deconstruct this, okay? So I'm going to click on this black box. In fact, no, that's the image underneath. So this is where it's like useful to have these layers. There's the Figma logo. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of Let's Learn, OSINT, map marking. The black box, where would that be? Oh, right. The black box is the background color of the frame. So if I just show you, if you press F or click that button at the bottom, that's where you get the frame tool. You can make your shape. If you hold Shift, it makes it square. If you let go, it just drops a box in. Obviously, it's kind of hard to see because it's just white on white. You can change the background color of Figma to be different colors if you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the frame background color to be something else. And in this case, it was black. That's why this is black. And it isn't a black box. It's the actual background. So that's frames. What we can do now is, let's just move this picture over. And is it cropped? I think it might be. Yeah, here we go. So this is just a screenshot out of Apple Maps. Nothing fancy at all. And what we're going to do here is we're going to re-add all of these elements that you can see. And I'm going to show you how to do it. I wish I had Figma when I was like working in the banks, doing things like this on a regular basis. But I didn't, so that's that. Right, if you have any Photoshop experience, you will know about things like opacity of layers. So the frame is in the background underneath, the image, and the image is on top. What we're going to do is we are going to reduce the opacity to make the image darker. Yeah, that's something that we can do. And you'll see why that's so useful later on, because it lets you make other things stand out quite a lot. In Figma, at the bottom here, you got this sort of menu bar. The tool that you'll probably use the most here is this pen tool, this ink pen thing. And what it lets you do is you draw points. So if we want to highlight this building here that's in the center, this Rothstein Jewelers of Beverly Hills, let's say we want to highlight the sort of whole outside of the building. Let me just zoom in. I'm going to put it all on the screen so I can see it. Saves me having to move around. And I'm going to click at the base of the building roughly. That's one click. I'm going to move. You see my blue line? Click at the bottom of the other one. I'm going to go up the side of the wall, along the roof, along to here. Sort of cuts back in. It annoys me that it has that big diamond ring on it, but Apple Maps has those. All of the Maps apps have them from what I can tell. Maybe there's another provider that doesn't. If you know of that, let me know in the chat. And we'll go up here and along and down the other side of the building and back to the start. Now, when I get back to the start, if I click on that original dot, that will complete the whole circle, if you will, and I can just press escape to get out of that pen tool, because sometimes you can find yourself clicking and things are going everywhere. Now, it's hard to see, okay? There's not really much there. But by default, it adds, you can see on the right, a stroke. So a 1 pixel stroke, and if I make it bigger, you can see now it's insane, right? Let's just make it pop, and we will turn it yellow, okay? So I'll choose this, and I'll choose yellow. There we go. Let me see any questions in the chat. No, German, MacBook Pros, programming languages for cybersecurity. You're asking the wrong guy. I am terrible at programming. I know like a few lines of Python, which are dangerous lines of Python, and that's about it. Yes, maybe someone in the chat will know better than me. Okay, so now we have a yellow outline. This little panel here that sort of pops out, this does a lot, okay? It does a lot. And there's one button that's really, really useful, and it's this check color contrast thing, this little thing here. It doesn't work for this one. You'll see when we start to type text. It's really, really useful. When I read books to my kids, sometimes they have this, night sky background, and the text is purple on this black background, and it's really hard to read. It's like they needed to check the contrast. It should be white text on a dark background, okay? So that's what that's for. But in here, you've got things like solid colors, gradients, patterns, images, videos. You can add all sorts of things in here, and you can also change the opacity of them here too. This thing down the bottom, these are all of the colors that are in use on this page. So that red there it's there because we have it up here with those red dots. If I delete those red dots, that red thing would disappear. So that's pretty clever. If you haven't built the sort of brand library and assigned all your colors, as long as it's in use somewhere on the page, you will see it offered here. And if you want to change that, you can change it to other things. You can also paste in hex values, change to things like RGB and all that sort of stuff. It's very cool. Now this is important, blend modes. That little teardrop thing, if you're a Photoshop person, you will know about blend modes. If you don't know what a blend mode is, this list might jog your memory. You might have seen stuff like this: darken, multiply, screen. Anybody that does creative work, you will know what this is. It's good because you see the preview of what's happening on the right-hand side. Like that one plus darker kind of looks like a highlighter. Let me just, hold on, make this bigger for you. There we go. If I click the blend modes, that looks like someone's gone with a highlighter and colored it in, which is kind of cool. Multiply is very similar to it. Darken is similar too. Lighten brightens it up. Color dodge, overlay. It's kind of like the multiply one, but just different. And you just got to like look through and see what you like more than anything. You know, there's difference and exclusions. That's like inverted or something. It looks wacky. Don't do that in your presentation. So we can use these to our advantage because I think it looks good whenever you do this. So I'm going to put it to like multiply and just reduce the border. Now this is a complete shape, so it has a start and an end. We can move the points as well if we want. You can just drag them and move them around. So if you made a mistake, it's not easy to fix. But we can also fill this in. You can see above stroke, it says fill. And if I click it, instantly it gets a gray fill. That is useless. You could set it to white. You could set it to black. It's your own preference, but you're going to have to reduce that opacity so you can see through it. There may be advantages to making it dark. See, if I go white, it kind of brightens the shadows. If I go dark, it sort of darkens it a bit. So personal preference. And again, that has its own blend mode. So you can see all the things happening there. So just find what looks good for you. Plus lighter looks quite good there. It really makes it sort of pop, doesn't it? But it still doesn't, mega pop against that background, which is why I have that black layer underneath. You could just put a black box underneath this. You don't have to make the frame black itself. And that is one way to do things, to be honest. It's kind of cheating, but it works. So if we click on the image now and then reduce the opacity, let's go back to our selection. We want to make that pop. So I'm going to go to the fill and I'm going to bring this back up. Yeah. Okay. And now let's play around with the blend modes. You can see how much more dramatic it is once that image is actually darkened. What do we like? Plus lighter is, color dodge looks quite good. Plus lighter sort of brightens the shadows too much, as with that sort of respects them a little bit, the color dodge one. So there we go. Now that really stands out, doesn't it, in that map? So people's eyes are drawn to that. In the original image, I had red for the shooter who was in the tree, if you remember up here. Oh, sorry, yellow for the shooter in the tree, red for the victim, red for blood. You could say red for bad guys. Doesn't really matter. What I would say is think of whichever way you want to do it and stick with it, because otherwise you'll confuse people. So we just need a red circle. You could put anything in there, really, a star, a little stick man or whatever it is. And then we'll also outline this tree and add our sort of sniper shot lines to it. So let's get a circle from down here. And we're going to hold shift to keep it nice and round. If you don't, it'll go wonky. And we will set it to 20 pixels. This is where our victim was, yeah, by this car. And we want it to be yellow. Cool, easy. I think that works fine. Let's just hold Option and we will duplicate that and we'll put our sniper in the tree, which is nuts, by the way. And actually the victim was red, right? So let's make it red. There we go. Sniper's yellow. Now we need to draw the lines. And if you want to just see, I saw this one from the recent incident in the USA, sad incident. you know, sniper's view, the sort of left and right of arc, as you would call it. And then you've got this triangle in the middle that's kind of, you know, a little bit see-through, but you can still see it. And then the line down the middle for the shot and the distance. Okay, so let us go over here and let's get some lines going on this. Now, down the bottom, where are we? We had that pen tool. That is probably the easiest way to draw a line if you need to make a shape. But if you need to just draw a line, click the line tool or hit L for line. And then I'm going to go to the center of the circle and we're going to pull it out. We're going to go here. Okay. We will make it yellow. There we go. And I'll hold Option and we will duplicate it. And I'll move the start point to here. There we go. So the sniper can see in between these two trees. Let me just make that better. By the way, it's these two trees, this one on the left and this one on the right. Now, we need something to fill in that gap. There may be better ways to do this. I don't know. Let's just try this way. We're going to go back to the pen tool and I'm going to click up here, click here, click here, go back up and then connect them together. So now we've got that pen shape in there. Same as how we outlined the building. We're now sort of outlining those sniper lines. We don't need any stroke, so that you can see the yellow is there from before. We're going to get rid of that. So 0 pixels of stroke. In fact, maybe you can just, no, you can't click minus because it's the only thing. But we're going to fill it. So that's filled in gray. What do we got to do? We have to reduce the opacity. There we go. Simple. So that now looks like this. Yeah. So now we have to get a dotted line down the middle to show a bullet's trajectory. Again, L for the line tool. That's what's meant to happen, the line tool. And let's just draw a line. Here we go. It's a black line. We don't want a black line. We want a white line. And we want it to be dashed. So I think you click on patterns. Yeah. So patterns. No, not patterns. Where is the setting? Where are our line settings? Not in there. How did I do this before? Grammarly. I literally can't click that button for some reason. Effects, no. Okay, width, stroke, color. I mean, that does something, the pattern, but it's definitely not enough. Let me just go to the original image and see if I can reverse engineer what I did. I'm going crazy, guys. Endpoints, joins, positions, it must be in there. How do I kill Grammarly? How do we kill this? Quit. Right, can we click it now? No, very strange. Sir, you're a good physics teacher. I don't know why that's not letting me do a line. I must be doing something wrong. No idea. Very, very strange. It's weird that I can't click this either. Let me take this out of full screen. 2 seconds. Yeah, I can't. There we go. I have no idea what's going on. This is Mac OS Tahoe with the liquid glass thing. even in full screen mode, I noticed earlier the edge, sort of the edge 10 pixels were all kind of like glassy, like blurry. And you couldn't click those buttons on Figma on the right-hand side. Bear in mind, Figma is a really, really well-known design tool in San Francisco, and the people at Apple use Figma. You would think someone somewhere is upset. Here we go. So this is the dashed lines. So let us go down to our picture. We'll click on this. So I've clicked on the white line, and then here, these sort of control icons, dashed, easy. So that was the issue. So at least we know now to go out of full screen mode. But now we have a problem. It's on top of our yellow thing. It's on top of the red thing. What do we do? So let's click on the line. You can see here where my mouse is on the left, it says line 3. We can rename that. Just double click, sniper shot line, okay? That needs to be underneath things. You can hold Command and square bracket to move things down and up. That's very common in a lot of software. So we're just going to move it down underneath the red dot. Or you could click and drag. You can just drag these things around. So here we go. The yellow thing needs to be on top. Let's put it up here. And we want some distance text about how far this is. So we press T for text, we drag a little box, and we type 80 meters, okay? Now, this can be kind of hard to read. Because we've darkened the image itself, white really stands out, but you might want to add like a drop shadow to it. Don't go crazy with drop shadows. Something I'm guilty of from a long time ago. So let's add a drop shadow. Look, we can't click it again. That's crazy. I'm coming out of full screen mode again. Here we go. It's definitely near the edge of the screen, isn't it? Guys, this is untested, very untested operating system. Where are we? Details, variable, fill. Where's our drop shadow? Effects. Yeah, effects, drop shadow. So here it is. I'll just move it over this building so you can see. The blur, if you blur it too much, it won't even have any effect because it'll be too blurry. If you reduce it to 0, as you can see, it's crazy. But that's a good place to start, actually, because it can help you get it in alignment. Like, where do you want it? Oh, that's sensitive. I probably want it like 1. Yeah, just like that. And then blur it. Yeah, just like that. You know, it's subtle, but it does make a difference. If I remove the blur, see? You know, they stand out night and day. So let's grab this one and delete it. We'll take this one. I wouldn't advise putting it on the line because the line's kind of white itself. You might want to, you know, those resize boxes. If you move outside them, you see then you get the rotation box. You could turn it and sort of put it alongside like that. That might be quite good. Yeah, happy with that. So let's just hide these, okay? Because they're going to get in the way of drawing the next few things. And I'm going to show you how to group things together. So you could put these in a frame, but it makes more sense to group them. Think of framing as framing the whole image. It's a better way of thinking of it. So we're going to click on the yellow box. The yellow circle. I'll hold Command, probably Control on Windows, and I'm going to click on the red one. I'm going to click on the sniper shot line. I'm going to click on line 1, 2, and this vector, and the 80 meters. And I think if I move this now, yeah, okay. That's everything selected. And I'm going to group them. So right click, group, and we can just double click that group name and call it sniper victim triangle, okay? And that's useful because we can just collapse that now, we're happy with it, it works. And we can turn it off. So boop, it's gone. You can also lock it, there's a little lock icon, so now it's locked, I actually can't move it or anything. Could do that. but we're just going to hide it for the minute just to get it out of view. So now we need the pen tool again. And I'm going to show you the more advanced part of the pen tool. If you need to do curved shapes, like if you want to try and make a guitar, like the guitar shape, you need the pen tool. You got to click and hold and drag, okay? So if I click here and then click here and then hold and drag, you see it bending this black line on the screen. So that's what it does. And you'll see a few things happen. We get a dot, hold on. It's kind of tricky to explain whenever I can't point at the screen. You get this bar here, which you can move around. That isn't a line, that's a control arm of the actual curve. It doesn't do anything because there's nothing up on that side, but this one controls the curve here. You can see, maybe if I change it to white, here we go. If I bend this, yeah, it bends the whole shape. And if I grab the other one, we can bend it that way too. So very powerful. You can make any vector artwork here. So if you need artwork like a logo that scales and grows and things. So we're going to use that to go around this organic tree shape. I'm just going to delete that one. Back to the pen tool. And I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag a little bit to put a little bend in it. Nothing too crazy. Put a bend in this one. And you can go around and fix these afterwards if you want, if you're not happy with some of them. This takes practice. I don't do it very often, to be honest, but I just wanted to show you that the pen tool is very powerful. Here we go. And I'll show you, we'll zoom in a second and we'll fix some of these so you can see how you would fix it. Okay, we're done. All right, let's pixel peep, as they call it. So you see this one here is like a bad one, yeah? Let's click on that point, and you can see you got these two handles. There's one there. Oh. And this is the problem one. Oh, there we go. Sort of straightened it out a little bit. And then this one's an issue. Even if you don't move the angle, even if you just shorten the thing, it changes it a lot, you know? So there we go. Okay. Gonna come down, move this one up a bit, bend that out a little bit. And you could spend all day going around this thing, right? Just fixing all these little points. But we don't need to. You get the idea. So that is how you outline like an organic shape. We're going to change it to that yellow color because that was our sniper. And we might need to adjust the thickness just to make it stand out a little bit more. So maybe, I don't know, 2 pixels. We won't go crazy. Mashrafi says, it looks very nice, but creating it takes time and it's hard. You're right. You won't do this for everything, but you only get faster at it. Like you get so fast, especially when you have a good starting point. You will eventually have this huge Figma file full of all your artwork that you've done, and you'll just copy paste. Okay, super. You won't need to figure out where the dashed lines are. You'll just grab one from an existing artwork, so it gets much faster. And you can't do that in PowerPoint at all. You can't. You'd have to open up an old PowerPoint and copy it into the new one, and nobody wants that. So that doesn't really stand out that much at this sort of distance. So let's just go even bigger, yeah. And we'll turn on our thing again, click the little eye icon, bang, yeah. Now, your boss might say, I don't like the way the yellow goes through the sniper thing. What would you do? I actually don't know. I don't know what we could do here. I'm thinking we could slip something in between them, like that, something like that's dark gray, maybe underneath. I don't know. That's a good problem. Did I have this in the original? I did. Okay, the dashed line is very clearly on top, which does give it nice separation. So maybe that's what needs to happen. Oh, it is on top, actually. Yeah, it is. Okay. Maybe we need to change the blend mode of the gray bit in here. So let's open this. We'll unlock it because it was locked. We'll click on the vector. That's the gray one. Yeah, I'll just rename it. So gray sniper triangle. Okay, and maybe if we change the blend mode of it, see, this could be a nice way. Oh, see, that sort of darkens the yellowy bit. It looks cool with the road being dark, doesn't it? Maybe that one, and then make the line white. This is all totally subjective, guys, right? Like, which line? Where are we? That's the yellow line. Wish I had left yellow line. What's this one? Right. Yellow line and sniper shot line. Here we go. Let's make it white. Oh, it is white. It must be the blend mode then. Or it's because it's at the bottom. Let's put it on top. There we go. Ta-da! Your boss is probably happy now. So, we need to move the red thing. If you want the sniper cone there, would it look odd if you remove part of the tree outline inside that cone? Yeah, I was thinking that you could do the tree outline and then sort of cut in underneath those yellow lines. Because I think with the pen tool, you have to... Nah, I was going to say you have to join it up, but surely you can just stop here. Yeah, you could. So yes, K. Wallman, you could do that. I think the issue you would have would be the edges. You see the angle of those edges? That might not match the perfectly with your yellow lines. You can adjust the endpoints and stuff. You can make them rounded. You can make the joins tapered and things like that. But that could be the one issue you run into. But then you could go in and draw some other little shape in there. But you're into, you know, the difficulties of spending hours doing this stuff. But good thing that you noticed. Okay. We'll get rid of these and put the red thing back on top. Should we put the red thing right on top? Like this on top? Probably makes more sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I liked in this one is the stairs. Do you see the way they've highlighted the stairs? They're not just they are rectangles, but is it trapezoids or what's it called when it twists, you know, in perspective? So I'll show you how to do that because you can basically manually edit the points of an object. So if we, let's say, I don't know, let's go and highlight one of these driveways or something, yeah? You can obviously take the pen tool and highlight like this, which is probably the best way to do it, to be honest. It's probably the quickest, easiest way to do it because you can always move this afterwards, yeah? But if for some reason, I don't know, you've drawn a rectangle. Here's a rectangle. There it is. This little menu above, there's two menus at the bottom, the big one and the small one. This small one is relative to the thing that you've clicked on. So I've clicked on a rectangle, and now these are the things to do with rectangles that I can change. That one's create component. That's the powerful one. Edit the object is where you see all of a sudden now the little corner bits turn from squares to circles, just like the pen tool. So now we can do all this wacky stuff, yeah. So if for some reason you made rectangle boxes everywhere and you wanted to quickly just resize them, you can. Don't panic. You just click on it and then choose that little icon. And when you're done, you just click away or press escape. So that's how that works. Now, let's look at our original. So we have a big arrow. I used a heavily stylized arrow that no manager would ever let their boss see. But just to show you the types of things that you can do. And this one has like a gradient running down the length of it. So I'll show you how to do gradients because they're kind of cool. A gradient would work really well on this gray thing too. So let's put a big arrow in here for their escape route. Now, down the bottom here in Figma, by the way, Figma is mega powerful. Like it has so many things inside of it. If you click on that little icon, you got all, you've also got assets, and then plugins and widgets. So if you're an app developer or you might want to make a website or something like that, and you just want a pricing card, we can just insert the pricing card. There it is. Just looks like the Apple website, right? Just like that. So yeah, it's very powerful. Go explore like the Figma community and see all the things that they have. It's nuts. But let's have a look down here. Arrows. So we can take this and we can just draw an arrow. We can increase the stroke. Now that doesn't look fantastic. So let us look at the corner radius. Does that do anything? It doesn't, but we can change the endpoints to things like circles, but then it gets rid of the arrow at the start. So what I ended up doing for mine was multiple lines joined together. So let's increase the width of this. Here we go. Not a fan of the sort of rounded edges, but I don't really know what else to put in there. It's probably the best of the bunch. But also these ones, they don't look right because they're sort of the wrong angle to the road. So this could be a place where you use that last technique where you draw a rectangle in and then adjust it so that it sort of lines up with the angles of the road. But we'll go with this. Let's just see what happens. And then we're just going to whack a triangle on the end of it. So here we go. Going to rotate it like that. And we'll put it on here. We have to make it white. And I'll just move it down a bit. Oh, come on. What am I doing? There we go. Cool. We can group this together because it's just one big element. So we're going to group that and we're going to change the blend mode to, ooh. That could work, maybe. Don't know, because you got the Olympic Boulevard text underneath it. Maybe we just reduce the opacity slightly. We type T for our text tool, and we're going to get some text, and we will write escape route. In Northern Ireland, we say route, but it is route, I guess. It must be. Very American. Let's increase the font. By the way, you don't have to increase the fonts this way, like using this thing on the right-hand side. It can be a little bit annoying sometimes. I double-click the box in the corner just to shrink it to match the size of the text. And then if you press K, that is the... you won't be able to see it probably unless you're watching on a PC, or maybe zoom in on your phone. The arrow changes from a normal arrow into this sort of... So that arrow there in the corner on the mouse has like an arrow on each end. But if I press K, you get 2 arrows on each end, and that means it grows. It's a weird Figma thing. So if you just normally grab the box, it doesn't actually grow the text, it just increases the box. If you hit K, it actually grows the text and the box together. Useful, but it can mess you up. I was like, how do I just resize the text? Let's get this on here. We'll rotate it to match the other one. And we'll put it here. We could add a drop shadow to this if we wanted to. We could make the text bold. Bold is probably a good shout. There we go. Right. So it's coming together. And you basically just keep going like this. You just keep iterating on this. And I would just keep asking yourself, am I being like consistent? You know, the text boxes that are here, we'll make those now. They're in yellow because it's to do with the bad guy, and he was in the tree and he's yellow. Anything to do with the victim would be in red. Yeah. Let's add a gradient actually to this, because I said I was going to do that. We'll do it on the sniper thing. The gray triangle in the middle. If we click on the fill, you can choose gradient here. And if let me just make these colors crazy, okay? So we'll do red and we'll do purple, yeah? And let me change the opacity so you can see it much more easily. Oh, that's the blend mode, isn't it, that's doing that? There you go, looks crazy. So red is at one end, purple is at the other. You can usually change the angle of this. I don't know how it works. Radial means it comes out of a circle. Oh, I can see it now. Here it is. See these guys in the middle? Yeah. So we're going to do linear, and we are going to move it over here because the reds, so you get your own line for this gradient. You see it change, look. The red's up here. The blue is down here. But we actually want the red to be, I don't know, this color. In fact, they can both be the same color, but you just reduce the opacity of the second one. And you see how that falls off now? It's like quite solid gray at the top, falling off to like a lighter gray. So you could apply a gradient like that. Looks quite nice, makes it pop. Text boxes, very straightforward. We put in a rectangle. And again, you can make a component out of this if you want. So let's just build one here. We'll do a black background with a stroke that is, stroke means border, that is white. I know you can't see it right now, but it is there. Here you go. And we'll put it here. We can right click, create component, okay? Duplicate this, because we need 2 text boxes. And then when your boss says, oh, I don't like the black, can we see through it just to reveal some of the background? Because everybody likes liquid glass these days. You can do that. You can come in here and change, why can I, selection color. You can reduce the opacity. Oh, why is it not doing it on the original? Oh, I think you need to select the original component to do this. Yes, right. This is a thing. So this one here is the new one. That was the original up the top. This is the new one. And if we edit the new one, it doesn't actually change the original. You have to edit the original one. Now, if you're thinking, how the heck am I going to find the original one when there's so many of whatever it is? You just right click on any of them and you choose go to main component, and there it is. So now when we change this, they all change, right? Which is the best thing. That is like the one reason to abandon PowerPoint and come here and do it here, because now you can just have that superpower, right? Let's go in and add some text. Again, the text is the same sort of deal. Oh, what's going on? Dummy. Oh, it's doing it everywhere. Oh, Kay Wallman, thank you so much for an insane donation. I don't even know what to say, to be honest. That's so kind. Crazy. Thank you very much. I need to speak with you somewhere like LinkedIn, or drop me a DM. Thank you. Now, I've just put that in there and it's popped up everywhere. Is it because it's inside a component? It might be. That's pretty cool, actually, because if you wanted to very quickly add text boxes to all of your other boxes, we've just accidentally achieved that. And if I open all these, you can see it in there. The issue is the text is the same for all of them. Now, I can see it in the top right. Part let me just, so click on the text, and then in the top right, I can see content dummy text. So text box 1. Oh no, that changes there as well. I'm gonna have to figure this out. Figma blows my mind sometimes. Go to main component. That just brings us back to here. You can do this thing called unlinking instances, so it breaks away. So if I choose this rectangular box, and oh no, well, sorry, I'll choose this one. And if I detach the instance, now it isn't a component anymore. So if I change one of the other components like this, oh, sorry, wrong one. Change the original component like this. That one doesn't change anymore. It's unlinked. I will figure this out. Maybe not now. I want to respect your time. Yes, text components, I believe it's called. And you can basically, that's what's up here in these numbers, right? So if we click on this one, you can see the content in the top right says 1. If I type 11, you can see it changes to 11, but this one stays on 2. So you can change the text within those components. But then when your boss says, I can't read it, it's too small, the dot, you can choose the number and make the text bigger. So, and they all get bigger, okay? That's why it's so useful. An issue you might have if you do that is like the text might go out. You might have too much text in one box and just a few words in another box. And then it becomes a real mess trying to resize boxes, unlinking instances and stuff. So sometimes it might be quicker for text boxes just to do them manual. Maybe there's some clever Figma workaround for that as well. But as you can see on the left, you end up with a big, crazy tree of things. And this is why you should name your stuff. I'm pretty good at it on my YouTube channel, like the frames. OSINT, map, marking, thumbnail, yeah? And I'm pretty good at naming it. That also means when you click on this, yeah, click on the frame, and you go down in the bottom right, and you click export. A little bit confusing, these options. That's 512 width, that's the pixels. So the width would be 512, the height would be, I don't know, like 420 or something like that. And then this is 1x. So at the minute, at the bottom of the frame, you can see that 1600 by 900. That's 1600 pixels by 900 pixels. 1x, PNG, JPEG, just means it's going to come out as 1600 by 900. If you choose 2x, it'll double all that. So it'll be 3200 by 1800. And it won't be pixelated. The text and all the things that you've done in Figma will all grow beautifully. What will be pixelated though is the underlying image, the picture, the map, okay? Because that isn't vector, what's called vector artwork. So you just click that and then it gives you an export location and that's it. That's what pops up. You just export it to your desktop and you're off. A tip for anybody who needs transparency, by transparency, I mean like a clear background. So if I don't know, make a frame, there it is. And actually here, I could show you. There's no secrets here. Let me show you. So this thumbnail, right? Me, see? I'm cut out. That's free. You can do that on the Adobe website, okay? But that layer is a PNG. So whenever you go to the export options, if you just wanted me with no background, so you could drop it into something like this and make it look cool, you need to export it as a PNG. PNG files respect transparency, yeah? If I export this as a JPEG, it'll be black probably on the background or white. So transparency is really cool to play with. So yeah, that's how you use transparency to your advantage. Some of you might come across it, you might be asked about it. That's how it works. So yeah, we've covered a lot, by the way, and really this is just scratching the surface of Figma. The things that people do in Figma are amazing. Does anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts? I don't know, examples, or can you quickly do it on this, or feel free to leave a message in the chat. I would recommend that you spend some time looking at different map graphics. We could screenshot this and then copy it and then paste it in here. And obviously that's the same building you can see over there. You could take your pick, right? You could choose what you want to do it on. It's really personal choice. But tinker around because you get some amazing results. Let me just open up a new tab here and Bing Maps. I know what you're thinking, Bing Maps, but actually Bing Maps is incredible because it does bird's eye view. So if you click on this and then go to bird's eye view, you get these really good photographs. I covered this in my Rita Ora OSINT video. You get these really good photographs of, different parts of the world, usually popular parts of the world. Not everywhere is done like this. But then you can also rotate the image. Why? There we go. So click this and it rotates, and eventually it'll rotate the photograph. So it's very cool, very powerful. If you want to see what somebody's got like hanging in their washing line in their back garden or something, you can usually rotate around the house to see it. It's very well done. They're the only one that do it as far as I'm aware. So, this could be very useful to take screenshots of and, drop it into Figma if you want to get something that's a bit different that people haven't seen before. So yeah, that's about it, guys. We could talk all day about this. We could do examples all day. I guess the main thing is get in and practice. Kay Waldman has a question. Is this mainly done to look pretty in a report? When would you want to make it look pretty compared to fast? With fast, I mean simple shapes and rectangles, circles and lines. Yeah, I mean, this is just about looking pretty. And, if you go to the news for big events recently, there's been plenty around the world, you'll find, artists almost that make these amazing maps. The Guardian newspaper does loads of them. Some of them have like dedicated animators and things that sketch things out, and it's really eye-catching and it's engaging. If a report looks engaging and looks beautiful and that makes people read it, I think that's a good thing. Sometimes it's hard to get people to really read a report. So if it looks good, the graphics are nice, I feel like it's worth the time and the effort to do it. But sometimes you just got to be fast. When I was in the military, we were just using printed physical maps with a plastic clear sheet over the top of it, and we used to draw on it with markers, whiteboard markers. Oh, this is my I don't know if you can see that, my YouTube marker. YouTube sent me this, a little clapperboard. So yeah, it is about making it look pretty, but it's also about telling the story, right? Making the story really clear and easy to understand. If we look at this one here, you can really easily understand what's going on. In yellow, entered and departed. Suspect's position at time of shooting. You can see the lines. Suspect's line of sight through the trees. They've highlighted the trees, same way that we did. Crowds were here, stairs, car parks, escape routes. It's all really nicely put together. It just sort of, you put on that imagery analyst hat and tell the story visually. Many times, executive type people that read reports like pretty images, and it draws their eyes in. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like pretty images too. Yeah. So there we go. That's us. OSINT map marking. I'll definitely do some more of these live streams. If you have any ideas for things that you'd like me to cover, we can do a lot of different things. We can do OSINT stuff. We can do cyber stuff. You're going to see some more interesting analytical content on the channel. I've been very busy recently. We moved house twice. We're finally settled in one place, which is good. And everything is set up nice. So we're going to get back to business. I'm going to be covering, from an intelligence perspective, conspiracies. I love a good conspiracy theory. I listen to podcasts about that sort of stuff. I'll probably cover JFK, to be honest, because it's the big one, you know, who shot JFK. What does the conspiracy say? What does, you know, the data tell us? Let's visit both, you know, and see if we can debunk or prove or assess what we think might be the case. So we're going to look into some of that stuff. I'm going to do produced videos for that stuff, but maybe we could also do some live stream hangouts where we chat, and I'd love to see all the comments in that stuff. But it's going to be very much from a kind of semi-professional intelligence perspective. We're going to be grading sources, so we're not just going to look at Wikipedia and say, oh, Wikipedia said so. We're actually going to grade the sources as best we can for their trustworthiness, so we can make a somewhat best guess, or an assessment, as we call it. So that's what's coming. But if you have any ideas for things that you'd like to see, by all means, drop me an email or a LinkedIn message or something like that, or leave a comment in the chat, and I will do my best to make it happen. But I'm going to go and see young Rami and get ready for bed. So hope everybody has a great evening. Thank you again for the very kind donation, and we'll do this again soon. Peace.